Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Shonen Junkies. My name is Ben, and I'm always with my co-host
Edgar.
And today, Edgar, we're going to be reacting to the internet's hottest takes of anime.
Sounds hot.
That's stuff that we talk about a lot.
Yeah,
anime, manga.
we have some of our own too, right?
Yeah, we got a couple.
One
we got
Piece,
a couple.
Mid.
That's kidding. But if you do enjoy all things anime and manga, please hit like, please subscribe. We have a podcast, the Manga Monday Show, where we talk about all things news coming out of Japan. It's tier lists, such as reaction videos, such as things like this, where we react to stuff on the internet, views and takes and stuff like that. So please hit like, please subscribe. All things anime and manga are here on the Shonen Junkie.
Hot takes, not specifically our audience, but just in general, so you can find.
I would love to do it eventually.
Yeah,
if
if we
just our audience.
If you have a hot take, feel free to post them, and maybe in the future we'll react to those specifically. Everyone has a hot take. No one is perfect, so we're not here to judge, but we definitely will judge them. I don't know where I was going with that.
Remember, these are just about takes and our thoughts on them. So this is not like, this is what we want to be our livelihood, but it's just anime and manga, you know? It's not that big of a deal.
And just because we think a take is bad doesn't mean we think the series is in itself really good or really bad.
Yeah. So this is on Reddit. If you guys want to find the link to the Reddit below, we want to credit all these people down below. You can go there. Put down by Yaskind, he said, give me some real anime hot takes. This is about manga adaptations.
Okay. From
FunAd1145. No offense, but sometimes I feel like some manga readers don't actually want adaptations. They want emotion manga, seeing as what their idea of what a good adaptation is with how many manga panels you manage to cram into a storyboard. Like, I guess we can equivalent this to like something that happened recently. Remember Jujutsu Kaisen when Gojo did his famous pose, I am above heaven and earth or something like that, and the manga community was, it's not exactly like the manga, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, seriously? You know?
Yeah.
So I see where FunAd is coming from.
It also comes from a place of people who just don't want a manga to be touched because they know in the end no anime will ever be able to recreate what the manga does, like Berserk or Vagabond.
Yeah. So he's just kind of ragging on people who don't like.
Oh, people who complain about it's not exactly
every panel.
Yeah, I see that. I really don't like it when people nitpick it. I don't expect it to be a one-by-one exact equal. Sometimes anime does something that like is not like you wish it was handled better. But things like what Ben mentioned, like with Gojo's pose, the angle was different. That's kind of like come on, like touch grass, like for real. Like
there's a reply that kind of talks about that. So we have from Circuitry Wizard who replied to this, said, just don't talk about lazy manga adaptation where one frame can be static on screen for 13 seconds. People don't like adaptations not because they aren't animated manga, but because anime, unlike manga, has far less content and doesn't make up that shortcoming. Or the compensation is very mediocre compared to the original. That is, the problem is that in order to satisfy the audience with literally the same story, you need to try hard and make it better than it was before. And this is very difficult. Therefore, those who read manga are most often disappointed with adaptations. That's kind of, you know, as a manga reader like that, I agree with kind of both these takes. So, Edgar, let's do like a thing of like agree, disagree. At the end of this, would you say I kind of agree? Like
agree with an asterisk.
Yeah, I agree with both of these. Yeah. All right, this one is from Père Didi, and it's about anime fans and other mediums. A lot of anime fans haven't watched enough live-action films and television, or read enough books to know what good storytelling and character development looks like. Too many shows are held up as being incredible examples of storytelling and character development that are actually trash. I think this can be given to anybody, right?
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people who only watch like reality TV shows.
Well, it's not just that. It's just even they can watch the same things that we watch or most people watch.
Yeah.
And they just don't. Maybe not saying they're dumb, like because we care a lot, so we pay attention to all these things, all the things like character arcs, tropes, plot devices, cinematography, animation, music, score, themes, and whatever. All these things we like paying attention to, and we like pointing out things, and because we just like talking about something so much. I don't know. There's a clear intention to what an artist is doing, and whether you agree with it or not is up to you. But you can't just ignore something to, you know what I'm saying? You can't just
No,
ignore
yeah, I agree.
ignore a creator's reason to why they're putting that in their show, movie,
Yeah.
book, whatever.
There's a couple of replies here that says, Nameless Story says, what do you mean character development isn't weak guy becomes strong after a few episodes?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
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 Golden Icarus said something that I thought was pretty profound. He said, any medium can be used to tell an excellent story, and it can be used to also tell a terrible story. Anime has a silent voice and Rent a Girlfriend. Live action cinema has Lawrence of Arabia and Saw 6. Video games has Fallout New Vegas and Dying Light 2. There's good and bad in any medium. I do think a lot of people do end up ignoring some works of excellent art in favor of cheap, easily consumed popcorn art, which is frustrating to me. There's excellent art out there, yet people are busy arguing about which Star Wars prequel is the best movie ever made.
Yeah. I see. I agree.
You had me until the last one because
okay.
Revenge of the Sith is the greatest movie. No, I'm just kidding. Honestly, I agree with that take, but I also think that popcorn art is necessary as well. And I think you calling like Star Wars prequel popcorn art, I think is kind of discrediting all the work that was done. Like, say what you will about the prequels, but the work that was done artistically to like world build in those movies. That is art. Calling that just popcorn art, I think, is wrong.
I just think I think with what they're like frustrated about is their disregard for what isn't popcorn art. Don't just like leave out this or say that's a bad show because it doesn't have this.
Yeah.
As long as it might not be for you, but I feel like a lot of people have these takes and it's like Andor's a 5 out of 10 because it's boring or it doesn't have this. I feel like that's when the fire starts.
All right, this one we can talk about really quick because I think we've actually talked about this before, but I titled this one, I wonder what show he's talking about. This is from Sanic Explosion. He says, shonens that try to do the hard work is all you need to succeed motif and then give the MC all kinds of OP powers are DS and literally go against the story it's trying to tell. You all know the show I'm talking about. So would My Hero Academia have been better if Deku was left quirkless? That's the question I put up here.
It definitely doesn't make it a bad show for having it. But
no. Here's the thing with the OP power. It was the reason why I give it a pass for My Hero Academia is because it hindered him, right? It would like break his arm. You know, it was something he had to fight against. It's something he had to like overcome, and he didn't really overcome it until like the final arc. You know, so I'm like, that's why I give it more of a pass. But I do see there are other anime that are like hard work is all you need, but then they get like this super overpowered like gauntlet or power. Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball did this, which was very disappointing. It's the only disappointing part about Dragon Ball. I guess he's talking more about a Deus Ex Machina kind of power-up after all the hard work the MC did just to get this, you know.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I understand what they mean. It applies to a lot of things, like Black Clover. Yeah, they all have this power that they didn't really earn that thing on their own per se.
Yeah, if this guy had his way, I think there would be a lot of good stories that were not told because of it. Yeah. So I'll go with disagree for this one. All right, I titled this one "Edgar's Gonna Be Mad." The Holy Empire of Atua. He said, Mushoku Tensei does not have good enough writing to justify its popularity. I think it's time some people accept that a lot of its fans like it for its ecchi and harem elements rather than it being some masterclass in fiction.
I think people... I
think people are stupid.
No, see, that's the thing. I don't think ecchi lovers will love ecchi. But I think Mushoku Tensei fans would agree that they don't like it. They're just the most tolerant of ecchi in that show.
Yeah.
I think we'd be fine without it. No, I disagree. I think the writing is definitely there. I just think this guy is just really turned off by the etchiness, which I agree. It does hinder the show a lot. A lot of it could be taken away and you can still tell the same story. Just because A exists doesn't mean B cannot exist. It's still a very well-written show. I think the show adapts the light novel a little bit better than what the light novel gives. The light novel is really good, but the anime, like, oh, this means this, and we're like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the anime really carries the light novel.
I've heard really good things, man, about
Yeah.
the anime and
The ecchi is the
Yeah.
biggest, and Rudy's character the biggest turnoffs for a lot of people on the show.
But I also hear Rudius is a good character
No,
outside of that
he-
concept.
He isn't, but he's trying to be a good character. He's not a
Oh.
good. He's not a good person.
I mean, like,
He's a
well
he's a gr-
written
He's
is
a
what
great.
I mean.
He's a great character.
Yeah.
He's not a good person.
All right, let's move on. This next one is called Demon Slayer Mid? Question mark.
F take. That is the take. We don't need to read what they actually said.
Rohit 2624. I guess these takes really aren't that hot, but here goes anyway.
Say it's the hottest take ever made.
I do understand why Demon Slayer is popular, visually amazing, and a kinda simple, likable protag with a classic good versus evil story. But to be honest, I'm kind of disappointed that this is the show that people latched onto. The lack of any plot progression outside of the beginning and end of each season after season 1 is something that frustrates me to no end, and it's totally doable to do both. The story writing that is there isn't even good either. What we do get is a cursory story where Tanjiro does very little of his own volition besides actually fighting the fight and just happens to be in the right place at the right time every time, which is fine the first couple of times, maybe, but at some point someone needs to do a show where they're doing things on purpose, in my opinion. Zenitsu is completely insufferable, and Inosuke is only tolerable in the few instances that he actually decides to take things seriously. Pretty much every character is two-dimensional at best. All right, you're starting to lose me here. I also felt like the show barely put any effort into making a connection between Rengoku and the audience in the movie, and then somehow expected me to actually emote at the end. I shed a little bit of a tear, but all right. Season 2 at least gave the sound Hashira enough screen time for me to actually care what happens to him and his wives. Season 3 also just forgets about what makes shonen fights palatable in the first place, a sense of story and progression within the fight itself. The vase demon is entirely unremarkable, and the emotion one did like one thing combined. The show looks great and it's entertaining enough, but it's frustrating to watch given the fact that I tend to like much more plot-heavy stories like Attack on Titan or Nolan's movies.
I think this person is just mad that a lot of people like it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And to sum up, I disagree because that's kind of the point. I don't think Demon Slayer is trying to be anything more than what it is.
Why does everything have to be as deep as Attack on Titan?
But what makes Demon Slayer better than like your average like cash grab popcorn entertainment is that it does the very simple things really well.
Yeah.
I think just because it's the animation carries doesn't mean that there's nothing in the story whatsoever.
Yeah. I see where they're coming from, like in the first paragraph where they're talking about Tanjiro doing things off of his own volition, because it does feel like he is in the right place at the right time every time. But when you started talking about Zenitsu and Inosuke and calling every character two-dimensional, I'm just like, I don't think that's true. Like, I think everybody has, like, a personality trait, but does that mean that it's, like, two-dimensional? No, I don't think so at all.
You get characters immediately like Shinobu. Shinobi or Shinobu? I forget the name.
Shinobu, I think.
Either way, the butterfly Hashira. Say what you will about all the backstories and like the slow pacing of the fight scenes in the season 3. At least for that, Hashira is definitely not two-dimensional, and so is the Love Hashira. I forgot her name. I forgot all their names. I just know what Hashira's there. And the Love Hashira is definitely not just a peppy, happy girl.
Look no further than who was the guy who taught Tanjiro. Like that is a good like
the sensei.
Yeah, the sensei. Like he had a good like 2 to 2.5 episode arc. Like when he was crying when Tanjiro came back. Like that's not two-dimensional.
I think being an archetype or being like a stereotype of a character, like, oh, he's the happy one, oh, he's the mad one, oh, they're the quiet one, I don't think that makes them two-dimensional. I think that they can be in like a certain archetype and they can be a type of character, but that just doesn't mean that that's all they are.
Yeah, Rengoku went through like so many hardships. His dad being like the worst, his mom dying, and then he's still having that two-dimensional like figure.
And is it the best version of it? No. Is it even the most fleshed out version of it? No. But like I said, I don't think.
But is it still good?
Yeah.
Maybe I could understand it if he was like but people don't like Attack on Titan as much. It's like that's not that's
Demon
not
Slayer,
true.
yeah, Demon
Like,
Slayer. I
you
don't
know,
think people are
not
comparing
true.
Demon Slayer to Attack on Titan. I mean, there are a lot of people
And
who
if
do.
you are, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I
Like,
think
why?
there are a lot of people who do compare Demon Slayer and Attack on Titan, but I don't think they should be put on the same
Completely
level.
Different.
Yeah.
All right, Edgar. This is our last one. This is about dubbing. From Malicious Joy. Dub is as good as sub. The technology and ability to properly dub has grown exponentially in the past 20 years. If you think all dubs are bad, you probably haven't watched one since 2009. I'm not saying dub is superior, but it's harder to tell if someone's bad at acting if you don't speak the language. 100% agree. Yeah. And this isn't just because I'm a dub actor. I've thought this before I did dubbing.
I think this also like has to do with people just don't like hearing things in their language, or it's just once they fully understand it, it's like that sounds weird. If you if you were to really hear all the things that you hear in anime in English, it does not sound as cool as you think it sounds. It's already cringy when you see anime fans like think in Japanese like, whoa, we're so cool. We're saying Japanese sounds so cool.
You know, like, you don't think that that's like when Bakugo is saying Becca, do you not think that's like over the top in their
It's already
language?
cringy enough, and if you say it in English, it's gonna sound practically the same thing.
Yeah.
I remember I saw like a video posted about Fire Force. There was a scene where one of the characters was saying something, and she was supposed to sound silly and kind of drunk.
I saw this.
And people were like, "God, this thing sounds so cringy and dub." And like
I thought it sounded good.
Japanese speak. There was like a Japanese person like, it also sounds cringy in Japanese. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
And most of the stuff in Japanese doesn't sound like real Japanese because they're speaking in anime language. A lot of the sentences in anime speaking in Japanese doesn't sound like how normal people talk in general. It's already going to sound weird. It sounds weird when you hear it in your own language because that's how you hear it. So
and to bounce off of that, and to bounce off of what he said, to talk about the technology to grow. As somebody who does dub acting for a career, it is very technical, and it has grown a lot. Like, we have engineers now who, even if you don't match the lip flaps, they're able to put it in place and make it sound perfect.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like
it's definitely getting better. It's not the same as it was 10 years ago.
Sometimes the sub is better, and sometimes the dub is better. And like that, it's literally always based off preference.
I don't people think especially when the dub arguments, sub and dub community, I don't think they have enough. I don't think they understand like the workings. I'm pretty sure if you asked most of them, not really they would say, but they would have some idea that they would think that all dubs come from one studio.
Oh yeah. Oh,
and
definitely.
I don't think they know how many dubbing studios. It's not just all Crunchyroll. It's a lot. And
They're
they're not all directed by the same person, even though there's the same voice actor. They're not always going to be directed by the same director. There's a lot of things that come in that play along in the process of dubbing an anime, and I don't think people have any room for nuance when they consider those things. They just don't have room for like, oh, maybe this is bad because of this, or maybe I don't like it because of this, and they just don't. They just automatically assume it's a bad dub, or they don't like the dub because of A, and that's the only answer you can give for it. And that's not true. Give dubs a chance,
especially the smaller animes. I will say, like, smaller animes, a lot of times the dub are better. Like genuinely, I would watch the dubs on those. But yeah, you know what dub is good? The Kingdoms of Ruin, which I'm in.
Kingdoms of Ruin. Ben voices the main character, Adonis.
I think we have it right there.
Yeah, right there. Yeah.
That's Vagabond.
Oh, I thought you were going to click on a playlist video or something.
No. Click this link to go to Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
They don't need that.
If
they pay us, maybe, but no. But yeah, so those were the hot takes, Edgar.
Yeah.
I would say the takes in this one were a little bit mild.
Yeah.
But, we're hoping next time that they're going to be a little bit spicy. Spicy. If you have any spicy hot takes, put it in the comments below. The next one that we're doing has already been recorded, but once we do it again, we're gonna take yours and put it into our video.
Yeah.
So please do that.
Don't start a war.
Don't do that. But do smash the like button and subscribe button.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you guys on the next Shonen Junkies.
Bye.